Cleveland Browns fans, I have been sitting here staring at my coffee thinking about the endless noise surrounding our squad, and honestly, the exhaustion is starting to set in. Today, an interesting update is developing regarding our quarterback room that could shake up everything we thought we knew about the upcoming season. It is fascinating because it touches on the raw expectations we carry into every camp and the reality behind the closed doors at the facility. The more information that leaks out, the harder it is to ignore the tension building behind the scenes. Hit that like button, subscribe, and represent the Dawg Pound by dropping your name and city in the comments below. Let's get into it. Deshaun Watson has returned to the Browns facility, once again dominating the headlines and forcing us to confront the reality of our quarterback situation. As Cleveland Browns fans, we have lived through his arrival via that massive trade and the subsequent years defined by injuries, controversy, and inconsistent play that have kept us in this endless cycle of uncertainty. And honestly, it is exhausting to see his presence become the only thing that matters during these quiet summer weeks. According to reports from Mary Kay Cabot, Watson is back at the building training with his private physical therapist and personal coach, while also organizing a passing camp in South Florida. Here is where it gets interesting because Shedeur Sanders reportedly intends to join that session rather than hold his own, effectively signaling his role as a teammate. Let's be real, this news hit the fan base like a ton of bricks because we are all tired of the constant circus surrounding this position. That matters because every single update, rep count, or social media clip becomes a referendum on whether this experiment will ever truly work out for us. We have grown weary of the constant discourse, feeling like we are trapped in a loop where every minor detail about footwork or training becomes a national story. Now here's the thing, we are still waiting to see if he can actually lead this team in September when the pads finally come on and the games actually count. The gravity of this situation is immense, and for many of us, it feels like the same old story with just a slightly different beat. And honestly, we have to address how we reach this fever pitch of quarterback anxiety. The current standoff stems from a series of high-stakes roster moves designed to maximize our competitive window, yet we find ourselves paralyzed by the lingering uncertainty of Deshaun Watson. His massive $230 million fully guaranteed contract remains the elephant in the room, especially after his 2024 season was cut short by a shoulder injury that limited him to just 6 appearances. This follows a recurring pattern in Cleveland, echoing past years where we chased veteran solutions only to face instability that ultimately derailed our playoff aspirations. Let's be real, we are watching a repeat of the classic Browns cycle where immense investment meets extreme unpredictability. Here is where it gets interesting because our coaching staff is likely evaluating this through a cold, clinical lens. Behind the closed doors of the facility, the brass is weighing the sunk cost of the contract against the undeniable talent of our younger backups, who represent a cheaper and perhaps more cohesive future for the offensive scheme. That matters because the front office knows a failure here could define the next decade of this franchise. While the media churns out clickbait, the coaches are likely agonizing over whether to pivot now or stick to the original plan and hope for a vintage performance. Now here's the thing, we have seen this movie before with various signal callers, and it usually ends with us questioning every decision made by the front office. We are desperate for stability in the Dawg Pound, yet every report of a private workout or a Florida passing camp just highlights the lack of clarity. This team needs a leader, but until the pads pop in late July, we are stuck in this exhausting state of perpetual limbo while holding our breath for a miracle. We are living through another summer of uncertainty surrounding our signal callers, yet this team has to maintain its focus despite the noise. That matters because the entire offensive structure relies on the chemistry between the quarterback and his receivers, which needs to solidify before training camp officially begins. And honestly, this situation creates a ripple effect throughout the entire roster. With Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders training together, we are essentially looking at a fluid depth chart where the backup spot is no longer guaranteed, potentially forcing the front office to shift salary cap priorities if they decide one of them is expendable. Here's where it gets interesting regarding the depth chart. If the competition remains this tight, we might see the coaching staff burning extra reps that should go to the starters just to appease the media circus. Let's be real, this impacts our early season matchups against the Bengals and Ravens significantly. If we enter September without a clear leader, those high-stakes divisional battles become even more volatile and dangerous. Now, here's the thing about our standing in the AFC North. While Mike Vrabel has the Patriots trending upward and Robert Saleh is busy rebuilding the Titans under Mike Borgonzi, we cannot afford to let our quarterback room become a distraction that sabotages our playoff chances. We are competing in a division where every single snap counts, and relying on a quarterback battle that drags into the regular season is a luxury we simply cannot afford. If this team wants to make a deep run, we need stability under center, or we will find ourselves watching the postseason from the couch while other teams benefit from our internal instability. We have to demand better clarity from the organization, because at the end of the day, it is the Dawg Pound that deserves a winner. On one side, the argument for sticking with Deshaun Watson revolves around his veteran pedigree and the massive financial commitment this team has made. Supporters believe that if Watson returns to his past form, his ceiling remains significantly higher than any alternative on our roster, providing the leadership needed to navigate a brutal AFC North schedule. But on the other side, the risk of holding on to the past is palpable. We have witnessed enough uneven play to know that if he continues to struggle, the offense remains stagnant, potentially wasting another elite defensive season while the locker room loses its collective belief. Here is where it gets interesting, as analysts from across the league are weighing in. While national pundits like those covering the Tennessee Titans under Mike Borgonzi and Robert Saleh suggest that quarterback stability is the ultimate goal, others note that teams like the Patriots under Mike Vrabel or the Vikings under Nolan Teasley have shown that mid-tier quarterback play will no longer suffice in this new NFL era. Let's be real, the constant noise is exhausting for every one of us. That matters because a distracted team rarely wins championships. Now here's the thing, we are tired of the cycle. And honestly, my real take here is that the coaching staff needs to be ruthless with their evaluation during camp. If the gap between the veteran and the youngster is even remotely close, we must pivot to the future immediately. We need a signal caller who can command the field without the heavy baggage of the last 2 years. It is time to prioritize the locker room morale over individual reputations. We deserve a competitive product that focuses on results rather than headlines. As Cleveland Browns fans, we have endured enough drama, so let us hope for clarity before the season opener kicks off. Dawg Pound. As Cleveland Browns fans, we have to recognize that the current quarterback focus signifies a massive crossroads for our franchise direction over the next few seasons as we move past the era of uncertainty and toward a sustainable identity. And honestly, this team is built to compete now, but we are effectively managing a transition between a high-cost veteran gamble and the potential emergence of a younger, more dynamic leader. Here is where it gets interesting, because the organization is not just deciding on a single player for this year, but rather defining the culture and long-term vision under the current coaching staff. Let's be real, we should feel cautiously optimistic heading into the season because the roster is undeniably deep and the coaching staff has proven they can handle adversity. That matters because stability in the locker room is just as important as whoever takes the snap in September. We have spent enough years worrying about the headlines, so now we should focus on the fact that this team has the talent to win regardless of who starts. Now here's the thing, we need to stop letting the daily rumors dictate our stress levels, because true success is forged when the pads come on, not when the cameras are on during a private workout session. We are at a point where the noise only distracts from our collective goal of winning the division. If we stay unified, we can navigate this season effectively. With the intense competition heating up, do you believe the coaching staff will prioritize raw talent or proven veteran experience when they finally make their decision for the Week 1 starter? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Dawg Pound. I'll see you in the next one.